Hello and welcome to the 12th Immersive Arts Twitch stream discussing live role playing in Victoria and everywhere else that matters. Immersive Arts Melbourne are a group of LARP writers and event managers who want to help make more LARPs happen, who love the LARP medium as an art form. We as people have made a bunch of games over the years. We want to see more. This week we are discussing pilot season game 1, the Deadline Chronicles. We have an excellent panel here. I'm extremely fuzzy because of a bunch of stuff, but I'm sure they will carry me beautifully. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'm going to ask you who you are. I want you to tell me who you are and your pronouns, and tell us a little bit about your relationship with LARP, and then we'll do another circle for what you did at the Deadline Chronicles. Let's begin with Robin.
Hello, I'm Robin, he, him. I have been doing LARP since Dance Ribbons 1, and it's just fantastic. I walked in to, people always say that your best LARP is, your first LARP is often your best LARP, and that was definitely true for me. But not just because of novelty, because it just blew my mind about new ways of experience. So I just fell so hard face forward into that world that I kept doing things in the Dance Ribbons religion I still do things in the Dance Ribbons religion.
Amazing.
I still use it as a touch point for ideas, and I think it's really fantastic. Yeah.
Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh, they, he, the creative director for the Deadline Chronicles, and I've been LARPing for too long. Started in 2017 at 17, so whatever that is.
Elias?
Hi, I'm Elias. My pronouns are they, them. I've been LARPing since I NPC'd at Black Powder and Bloodlines. Kind of jumped in the deep end there. And since then I've done all 3 Dance of Ribbons games, have become involved in Calico Mundi and other things like pilot season, which I had a ball playing at as a player. So thank you.
Amazing. Will?
Hi, my name's Will. Pronouns are he, him. I've been LARPing since 2015. And yeah, I've now started running games since last year. So you can find me next weekend running the other pilot season game along with Hat and all the other Fields of Honor GMs.
Amazing. I'm Josie, she, her. I've been LARPing for around the same amount of time as Josh because I also started when I was 17 and we're the same age. So, anyway, yes, I so the pilot season is a initiative started up by August as part of Immersive Arts Melbourne, where would do a bunch of the administrative stuff, booking the site, organizing tickets, making the food happen, blah blah blah. And we would get some different people to come and do some delightful creative people to actually run the games. And Josh graciously was willing to be our first guinea pig on the Deadline Chronicles, and get going with that. So why don't you start? Actually, let's all go around. What did you do during the Deadline Chronicles? I basically watched a bunch of other GMs learn how to GM LARP, and I was like, great, you guys are doing it. I'm gonna sit in the corner. It was awesome. Well, what were you up to?
I was being appeal of the game. I came into it with the idea of playing the worst character imaginable, and then I changed it. Is too much? Am I being a bastard? And then I got the resounding, no, go worse, be worse. So I had a blast getting killed and being everyone's enemy.
That's true, you were worse. Elias?
So I played a Rockian hunter with a cottagecore dream, and I spent I actually at the LARP I started learning LARP archery for this particular LARP, and was taught by my friend Joy, and I got to shoot people with LARP arrows for the first time in character, and that was an absolute
Yay!
delight.
Delightful. Robin?
I was an NPC. I was the blind oracle Ezra Astarope. So the players would go on a journey down a treacherous hill into a devilish forest, which is like a dungeon. And before that, they would come and see me. And usually, typically,
Almost always.
almost always, it's fine. And I would give them a tarot reading, and the result of the tarot reading would then be communicated to the GM team and influence the trials that the party would face, which was incredibly fun.
Absolutely. What about you, Josh? Did you do anything?
No, not really. Don't actually know what the Deadline Chronicles is. No, I creative directed and then helped GM and like run the whole shebang with a team of very awesome people who, like GMs and NPCs, just kind of made the world come to life for the awesome as fuck players we had.
They were so awesome, though.
Really cool.
Incredible. So, the Deadline Chronicles as a game was, I mean, it's a high mid fantasy, gritty fantasy game. Set in a very angry, dirty world. All the players are miserable because they've been in generation wars and are trying to find some sort of happiness and redemption. The game itself was 48-hour LARP. We were in a scout camp. Started on Friday nights with like 3 or 4 hours of freeform play, and then the players went on sort of linear adventures down the hill while also role-playing. For a while, and then everything exploded, and we did horror at them on Saturday night, and they saved the world, and that was nice. Let's talk a little bit about that sort of linear gameplay. Robin, do you want to start us off with how the linear works?
Yeah, so essentially players would inform the GM team that the STs, that they were going to go on a run by like interacting with a particular NPC in town to let them know, hey, we want to, we're registering our run, our little quest down the hill. Then they would come see me. I would give them a tarot reading, and so my character was blind. I had a blindfold on that was like a sheer piece of fabric that I could like see through, but I look like I'm covered. I basically had to be babysat for a lot of the LARP because as soon as I lost light, I couldn't see shit.
No.
So luckily, the STs were generous enough to provide me with my own little care GM who would rotate out as they would sit next to me in the Oracle tent, and then I could communicate everything that was happening to them. And then when I need to go anywhere, they would kindly leave me around.
Yeah.
So players would come in. I was sitting there in the Oracle tent waiting. We would chat for a bit. I would give them a tarot reading.
Yeah.
And there was a particular format of how, like a particular spread that we used, and the players got a few choices that they could make. They could choose to like swap cards and navigate the thread. So if they pull a card and it's Tower, everyone knows Tower is bad. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Let's gamble, take the other option.
We'll go the other way. Scary.
Yeah. And yeah, then they would leave, and the GM, my little buddy GM, would quietly be like taking note of what cards are drawn and would communicate that to the SDs.
Yeah. What did that look like for you, Elias?
I found it really interesting as a mechanic that would then influence our gameplay going down the hill. I remember like a particularly memorable a memorable moment in the Oracle tent was, I think it was our second run or something, and one of the nations. So there's 3 different nations in this LARP that you can play. There were my nation, the Rocks, or the Rockians, where we're essentially assigned a craft or a role at very early in our lives, and that is our purpose, whether we like it or not. And so we all banded together for our second run, and I think in the Oracle tent, we were given this very intense reading with the moon, and there was one card that we could flip over, and so our one of our members decided to make that move. And I remember him saying, "Oh, I think we meant the other left." And Ezra the Oracle said, "There is no other left," and the moon was drawn again. And that was fantastic. So it felt very destined, that particular run. So it felt like we were sort of being pulled in particular directions by whatever sleight of hand you did or did not use.
Yeah, there was some sleight of hand. Will?
It was really funny to usually, like, I don't want to like overemphasize this, but usually player agency, there was agency available, right? Like usually you could take left or take right, and there would be different cards, and you could make choices about it. But there are a small number of events where GMs were like, we want this particular thing to happen for story reasons. And so I had a second tarot deck, and players are coming, and I'm like, my GM's like, we need moon to happen because the XYZ. I'm like, okay, fuck, they're coming. All right. And then now I gotta lay stack the deck in a way that I can shuffle, and then I got to manage a lot of cards to be all right. Here we go. Let's. I can't look at them. Let's hope. So
yeah. Will?
Yeah, it felt really cool going into the Oracle tent. It felt like a roguelike, as the game is being generated in front of you. When you got the tower, you're like, this might be a more difficult run than expected. And I noticed it was only the 21 or 20 major arcana
22
that were being drawn, which I imagine, using my powers of deduction, was setting up a bunch of pre-written encounters for us to then wander down the slope to interact with. And it felt really cool figuring out, we can change stuff around and move in different positions. And we know when, okay, guys, we need to lock in because we know the bad one is going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, why'd you do that for, Josh?
Oh, wow. So one of the roguelike dungeon LARP wanted to make sure it had an element of randomization. So yeah, we did the 22 major arcana cards from the tarot deck as pre-written encounters, and then also had the inverse as another set of 22 encounters, so like 44 total. And it was just kind of the end goal being, let's give a bunch of emergent story that can happen to players, unique combat experiences and role-play experiences up and down the hill that should be unique and different each time. And it's all pre-written and modular, so we can adapt to it as it happens. But it's all ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did it because I thought it was cool.
but yeah, like 44 pre-written encounters. You let the players know what's going to happen beforehand to a degree. Did it work? Do you reckon? Oh no, I dropped my fidget.
Yeah, yes and no. I don't think the event was long enough for us to actually explore how it would have kept iterating. And we had a bit of a logistics bottleneck with the amount of NPCs we had available to then run those encounters. I think as proof of concept, it worked pretty well. If we were to run it again, it's definitely something we would put more work into and probably more bodies into as well to like just make it run a bit more smoothly. But
Yeah.
the encounters seemed mostly fun from the reports we could get from players. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
easy enough for us to manage as well
Once we
in the grand scheme of things.
once we could order the numbers to work properly.
Yeah.
Ish. Did you guys, so as players, were you guys like, oh, we know exactly which encounters, were any of the encounters we know exactly?
So one of the mechanics of the hunter, which was the class that I played, was I had a hunter's book that I could then record, and when I'm back in town, cross-reference with the other hunters what kind of beasts or spirits or whatever kind of encounters kind of lined up with what cards. And so we did figure out a couple of them, but we also noticed that depending on the cards that preceded or came after a particular card, that would kind of influence how that card came about. For example, death came up, I think, in about 80% of the first runs. And it was consistently, there are a lot of dead bodies in the forest that you can see in the place that you are. What form those dead bodies came, whether there was an accompanying spirit, etc., that was all variable depending on, I'm guessing, what the GMs wanted, or depending on the cards that preceded or came after. And that was really interesting and a fun little puzzle for us all to sort of chew on if that's something that we wanted to pursue back in town.
Well,
Yeah, the encounters were really fun. I really liked going down there and not expecting if I'm going to get ambushed by 6 bandits, or if there's going to be a ghillie suit monster who starts doing interpretive dance towards me, or moths who want to kill and eat me. So they all felt very different. There was one where we're going down and like the devil is there and was like, "Yes, I want 6 of your finest hit points, and I would let you change your fate." But we knew that the next card was a good card, so we're like, "It's all right, Mr. Devil, we're good." So we could then just walk past that one. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. All the NPCs, I got to give a big shout out to the forest NPCs. Great fun biffing with them, and just really good roleplay from their end. And occasionally they would return to camp wearing their little magenta scarves and become the townsfolk, and that was always a delight to interact with.
Absolutely just workhorses all weekend. Massive shout out to the amount of effort they put in and how hard we ran them.
yeah, especially the ones I killed all the players with in that encounter. That took forever. So if the game, I think it's interesting, like, because we're doing like the linear format where the party walks down the hill with a GM and fights the encounters. Was the same format. Like that was my first LARP, was one of those in was that style of game. But it was there's quite a bit of it that's not really diegetic. Whereas this game really sort of, the lore was shaped around the concept of going on these excursions and coming back changed. Was that sort of, do you reckon was that what you set out to do, Josh? Where it was like, I want to run a linear, therefore I will write the thing around it, or did it go the other way?
Yeah, it was very much I want to run this type of game that'll have linear elements and freeform elements. I want them to make sense next to each other. And it was essentially two different types of game that I've just kind of unholy mashed together in the best way possible, because there's a lot of background happening for both, as well as what players are interfacing with. So yeah, that team just wrote some really cool shit and made sure it all made sense next to each other, or at the very least had a good excuse next to it.
Delightful. What did... Okay, well, we're not... When we talk about sort of the overall picture of the game, what stood out to each... I'm going to go get things. What stood out to you about the big picture of the game, the whole... We're talking about the holistic. Anyone can answer, except for Josh. For now. Okay.
It reminded me a lot of an RPG called Heart, which is this Rowan Rook a Decade indie game where you go down into this chthonic, eldritch entity that is just trying to do its best to make you happy and give you what you want. But it doesn't really understand how to do that, and is also kind of heaven or hell, very difficult, very fleshy and weird. And I was remarking to one of the GMs who has also played Heart that this felt like Heart, but it's a forest instead of a cave network. And I think that comes from the fact that the game has been designed to make the actual mechanics feel congruent and like it's happening to you, so it doesn't there's no dissonance where like, now we go down here and get into combat. So, oh no, I died, but I got better. The fact that we died and got better was part of the plot. And it was this horrible, like, oh, what's going on? Should we be terrified that this forest has just spat out you and you feel like it's you hope? And yeah, I feel as if it really played with this. You were going into a place where you don't understand, and it will kill you, but you'll get better, so you can keep exploring it. Because as players, you are going into this place that you don't understand. You're learning about it, and it felt very. I found it worked quite well because of that.
Yeah, I found that there was a good connection between why we were going about what we were doing by going down, doing runs down the hill. For a bit of background, the setting is like this war-torn continent where, as I mentioned before, there's the three nations who've all been at war. And essentially you come to the deadline, the forest, for many of us, the theme was it's sort of our last hope. There's not much left resource-wise anywhere on the continent. So one of the questions I think the LARP was asking was, what does hope look like? How do you hold on to hope? And what's the relationship there when the thing you were hoping for doesn't exactly turn out to be what you think it was or hope it was? And how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that that interplay between those things, and then also how that influenced our runs down the hill and just us getting more and more creeped out and unsure about, is this a good idea? This is our last hope, but is this a good idea?
Yeah. Robin?
Yeah, it was interesting because I took a lot of different things from the LARP as a consequence of the role I was playing. So As an oracle, I was trying to pay a lot of attention, and there were some times where I wasn't playing the oracle. I was playing just a little guy in the town. The oracle would traipse off into the woods, never to be seen for the rest of the night. And now I get to come in and be someone else. So I spent a lot of time trying to like really pay attention to the characters around me and try and like, what's your thing? What's the thing that you came up with? What's the reason you're here? What's the thing that you're exploring? Some people are just being fun little guys. Some people are playing with some real heavy stuff. Have put a lot of like emotional investment into this, and trying to find the little hooks in that, so that when I went back to being an oracle in the tent and giving readings, I could do the thing that tarot is so good at doing, which is just like, you draw a seemingly random selection of cards, and then the cards say something into your heart, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I was trying to do that, like, and so like, what did the LARP mean to me? Like, I mean, a lot of different things. Just based on, but a lot of it was like in about what I saw from the players. Like, they brought a lot of different. It meant a lot of different things to me because the players brought a lot of different things, and so being able to like reflect that back onto them was really cool. Like, just sick.
Yeah.
And seeing players, like the players had all submitted like details about their character. So having GMs come up to me and may say like, oh, this person's doing that, or this, and or like sometimes people would come in for a reading. They're not doing a run. They're just coming to talk to the oracle and get a reading.
Yeah.
And seeing a player come in and be like, hello, Mr. Spooky Blind Man. How are you doing? Anyway, we're just waiting for everyone else to come, so let's just chat for a bit. And then you talk to them for a bit, and you can see them go, ugh. Like, it felt so good to affect players. Is the point.
It is though. Josh, would you like to expand a little on the theme of the world and the NPCs mirroring what the players bring to it?
Yeah, sure can. At its highest, highest level, we wanted to create a game that, like, the world's awful. Can you practice having hope for us? Like, what's practicing having hope in the face of bleakness look like? How can we model that in a game, while also offering interesting gameplay? It's really cool to hear that kind of got touched on or felt by some people. Then a lot of our NPCs, we were kind of driving as varying levels of like doomsday clock. If we wanted you to slowly get worse or catastrophize or give things that rebelled against players, creating more hope, just so that there's more to fight against and practice against.
Yeah, right.
There's like a simplified and succinct kind of way to put it.
Well, I mean, that was the.
Did enjoy
Sorry,
that.
you go, Will. You go.
Just my lens, but hope didn't always feel good, because at least the character I was playing, he was hoping to win the war that we were in, which went counter to a lot of people's end goals. So hope as a central thing is rudderless, and it's what goes behind the hope and what you hope for felt really fascinating to engage with.
Yeah, especially because you were playing a monster, right?
Little bit.
A little bit. And then you've got different players with different characters with what hope means to them is different, and by virtue of that, you've got conflicting needs and wants and hopes. And I think that's what created a lot of the interesting interpersonal gameplay, because a lot of us were trying to escape the war, and then a lot of the Dark Bride Imperium, especially Will's character, was we were just like, why we're trying to leave that behind us. Why are you bringing that? No, leave that over there.
And that was interesting.
It did end up being that
Keep going.
a lot of the Dark Bright weren't for the war. It was me being very loudly for the war and being the status quo, which made everyone else who was anti-status quo but pretending go, ha ha ha. Yeah, what that guy says. Ooh. And then when I died, everyone was like, oh, thank the winds, he's gone. Anyway, let's put our swords to plowshares.
Oh, it's fun. So, a reminder to all of our viewers that this is the best and nerdiest stream on the internet, and therefore you should remember to press the follow button on it. I love numbers, and numbers are very important to me. I love first-time chatters, so hooray, welcome Riv. Welcome Tulip, welcome Ninebugs, welcome all of the coming back people who we love. Even welcome the weird people who don't understand us. That's great too. You're still numbers for me. The question that I've been thinking about, another question is, this game had a very sort of specific design language, specific visual language, where, and I guess what I want to get from you guys is when you see sort of logos like the Deadline one, the sort of creepy ass Blair Witch horror shit that they're putting out there. And shout out to Novel for doing an amazing job on a lot of the art. Almost all the art. And the visual design of the game overall. Novel didn't. But it's very specific sort of language, right? Very specific sort of design style. And what does that do when you see that in a LARP? What does that make you expect? Anyone?
If we start with the Deadline Chronicles logo, with the sort of hypnotic eye kind of tree motif, that made me think of, forests, but also, the angular style is kind of runic. So we're probably going somewhere medieval or further back in time. And then the hypnotic eye sensation was, oh, this is going to be some creepy stuff, some sort of horror stuff. I'm in.
A strong visual identity is also super. It makes me want to get involved in the world, and it adds a lot of cohesion, because a lot of the immersion that goes into putting yourself in the shoes of someone else is believing that and using what you can see. So all the art and all of that really helped get you in the mindset and understand that this is a new character and new world you're stepping into. So I found it really helpful, and also made me want to make sure that I always have an artist on any of my teams going forward, because I make the words, I don't make the pretty pictures.
Yeah, there was some beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And in fact, so I found some costume pieces that I came across where they had like sort of, it was like white loose weave linen, and it had like block printed patterns that were in the same style as the logo. And straight away I was like, great, that's obviously what I'm wearing. That's, it straight away the visual style of the logo keyed me into like costume choices, which helped anchor the character, which helped, right? So like taking a strong position on that, being like, having sort of a strong visual to connect to helped me to ground one part, which helps me to ground further parts, and everything builds on from there. And I had a lot of fun also doing like set dressing. So trying to create a vibe in a space that likewise has the same effect, except now instead of just being about like visual design on a page, like on a logo, it's the same thing now in a three-dimensional space. It's how you move through a space, what the space looks like, what it sounds like, all this kind of stuff. It was great. And so it's like the Oracle tent, I had divided, it was like a bell tent, so it's like kind of like a circle. It's not quite a circle, but just imagine a big circle and a pole in the middle. I had draped some fabric from the pole to one of the edges so that players would have to come in through the entrance, like stoop to come in the entrance, and then go around a corner. And I wanted it to feel like you're crossing thresholds and coming further in. And it was great seeing, like, sitting there at the back in the corner and seeing players like poke their head around and be like, "Oh, hello." Created this. You could see in them, a lot of players, this sense of like, "Wow, okay, I don't know what to make of this. I guess I'll sit down." And the guy's got a table, and all right, which is exactly what I want because I'm a weird oracle, and like you're about to go down the hill into some fuck shit. Yeah, great. You should be unsettled.
Yeah, and you'll have like the 6 or so players who make up a party trying to fit into the one half of the bell tent, all without armor and weapons and things, and just sort of crouching or stooping or sitting awkwardly, just trying not to bump anything. I think that was quite successful, making us feel a bit off kilter at the start of a run.
Yeah.
But I think the visual language of the art was also pervasive, not just in the logo, but also there was a town sign that was very welcoming and creepy and off-putting. It had some
All of those things at once.
some lovely words written on there that were just quite. Yeah, it set you. You were no longer quite at ease. And then there was also the visual language of the letters. So I think most players received a letter from the postmaster, who was the mayor of the town, at some point or other. And that just sort of, I know most of the letters were a bit of a twist of the knife as to why, like it would be, for example, mine was coming from my hometown. And my loved one had found out that I wanted to put down my bow because that bow was a representation of the war and all of the people that my character had killed in the war. And so they wanted to put down the bow and take up the cottagecore dream of a weaver. That is heresy in Rockian culture. And so the letter was from my loved one saying, "Oh, like this rumor, it can't be true. This is heresy. Please come home to us, our dear hunter." And that was just both the visuals of it and then also Lex's work writing the words was a beautiful touch to further put us ill at ease and off kilter in our entry to the world.
It was also so cool that I'm pretty sure everyone got a little letter. So everyone had a thing that was given to them that was like, "Hey, the GMs have acknowledged your character choices and are paying attention to you and are giving you a little bit of plot," which you can, in a lot of games, you might not feel as if you are being acknowledged by a GM, but when someone says "letter for you, sir," and you read it and you're like, "Oh, my family's been butchered. Oh no," really adds to the vibe.
Yeah, I remember from the Dance Ribbons collective workshop, the process practice workshop, the workshop after Dance Ribbons, where they whoever was talking at the time mentioned like, "Oh, some players after Dance Ribbons 1 or 2, we got some feedback saying like some players were like, I felt like I didn't have my moment." And that felt really heartbreaking as a GM team, they were saying to read. And then they were reflecting on that, and where they sort of got to with it was this idea that like a lot of players want to feel like their characters and their gameplay, their game mattered to other people at the event. And that was like, oh wow, that it's really touching sentiment and totally understandable. So hearing stuff like when I heard that, hey, actually, the GMs have handwritten
Something
notes.
for everybody.
Everyone gets a little note, yeah, and like it was incredible. And so, I think Ellie's used the phrase "twist the knife."
You
I
say
went up
you
to
said
Josh.
little note. Mine was a full A4 page.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't diminish.
Same.
Yeah, got a letter. So I remember at one point I went to Josh and I was asking about like direction, and they were just like, twist the knife.
Twist the knife.
And I was like, oh,
Or instructions for all GMs and NPCs.
It was a fairly ongoing GM instruction, that one. Polgarion, I know, says the really strong visual design really helped them as a strong foundation to costume ideas and character from, even though they didn't actually get to make one or get there at the end. A, welcome to the chat, and B, right? Like, I have been thinking really quite a lot about this idea that the communication and the event management is part of the game design. And the like, if you care about stuff like costume, you care about the set, then you should also care about everything you send your players, and every way you communicate to them is everything. The GMs and your admin people and your community people and your Discord people, blah blah blah, all of that is part of your game. That's not just me. A bunch of other people talking about that stuff. I'm not taking credit for that. Just like I find that fascinating, and really important. And so I wanted to talk about it a bit. Yeah, Vagabond also got everyone in their backstory. It was dead, so they got ghost letters yelling at them, making them sad. Anyway, it was great.
Oh, you wrote a character that has no one to send you a letter?
And still copped one.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn, you're having really weird dreams now. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on one more point. Sorry to go back.
No, let's talk which.
So Elias earlier mentioned the banner and the lettering on it. One thing I really loved is that there's lots of little details. You could so you arrived at the event and there's this big banner that says welcome to Dawn Hollow, the town we're in.
Just said Dawn Hollow.
Oh, Dawn Hollow, right. It was, the big town sign.
It had some very overbearing, welcoming little messages.
No, the whole thing just said Dawn Hollow.
From a distance, it's just a big sign that says Dawn Hollow. If you got up close to it, the lettering for Dawn Hollow was written with it's like something from what is The Shining or something, where it looks like someone has written 100 messages on top of each other so that they form letters from a distance, but then you get close and you're you can read bits at the edges and it's all fucked up, right? It's all so this idea of you look at it from a distance and it looks like one thing, and if you get close, you actually kind of pay attention. What? You can't make very good sense of it, but you get this impression of I don't like that. What do you mean? Really reinforces this idea of things are a little bit more complicated than they first seem. Pay attention, look closely. And just be vaguely unsettled. Be a little bit off kilter all the time. And there was a lot of things that reinforce that idea. But I guess what I'm saying is if you have a theme or an idea or a vibe that you're trying to hit, reinforcing it in as many areas as you can, especially if they're quite different from each other. The visual language on the sign reinforces the fact that the mayor is too happy all the time, atonally happy, and then also you keep hitting on these notes that players pick up on, and it just creates an excellent player experience.
Yeah, you've got a lot of these points of dissonance that make you uneasy. as they are designed to do. Sorry, Will, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I quite enjoyed the constant blood motifs and things that shouldn't be bleeding starting to bleed, and then the banner eventually getting blood scrawled messages on it. I know writers who use subtext, but I think
It's fine. The blood
forest is.
said that it was sorry.
Don't worry about it.
But then
The
even then,
apologies written in blood are still apologies, right?
Are they?
yeah, yeah.
Sure. Possibly the
Even
best
then,
kind.
the thing written in blood was nice, right? So it's like, oh, it's not just everything is bad. It's like
No.
everything
Dissonance.
is, yeah, there's dissonance, right? So
Mm.
like, we're sorry written in blood. We were just trying to help. If we could have helped. Like, those were the messages written in blood at the end of the event. Just really reinforces the themes. Good design.
Josh, would you like to respond to that?
I think both the lettering in the sign and then the food dye, like the blood we used with like chocolate sauce with food dye in it, being written on the sign after the fact, were both kind of spontaneous decisions that just kind of, well, obviously this is the thing we're doing, this is where the world is. Like, Novel painted the sign with just lettering that was kind of like thin on the edges, but like laid on top of each other, and then afterwards, like, can I write messages in this? I was like, great, this is the sickest idea you've had like today. And it was like one of the first things I said out loud, other than doing masks all day, which was fucking sick anyways. But they did that. I was like, cool, this is great. Then we're at the game, and I don't remember quite who said it, that we had the cup of blood that we had from our like prior who was doing rituals with it. And it just got grabbed after we did our Spooky Fright Night stuff, and people just, like a group of NPCs and GM just started writing notes all over the sign. And it was awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about how GMing is play. Because we often see this idea that you have players and then you have crew, and the crew are there so that the players can play and the crew can work. And I think we see why that happens, but at the Deadline in particular, the GMs were we were very much playing the game while we're playing a different, like, it was a very asymmetric kind of game, but we're definitely playing the game, right? So Josh, can you talk a little bit about why you decided to make the GM style so collaborative, Deadline Chronicles? Then we'll go around and talk to everyone else about it.
Yeah, we wanted, like, as a core conceit, like, everyone to feel heard, seen, and responded to as they played the game. And the easiest way for that to happen consistently is for everyone to just be ready to volley and play and spin into things and watch and respond. Both our GMs and NPCs had the same kind of instructions when it came to storytelling at the event of low constraints, high reporting, do something cool, make it feel good for people, let us know what happened. And it was just so we could track what was going on, add more cool shit, and keep having fun with it, because nothing feels better than watching players react emotionally to stories you're telling, or feel cool, or do awesome stuff, and you get to have that like nice little feeling in your chest of, oh, I empowered them to do something awesome. What next? What are they going to do next? How can I make something else cool happen? How can I enable more powerful things?
Especially when you've done that right then, right? Just like, yes. Sorry, keep going.
We had like a bunch of planned story and a randomization system, and they were cool like things that kind of took off the cognitive load, so we had more mental energy to do storytelling and do reactive gameplay. And everything had to be reactive, because if anything wasn't, then it would have kind of maybe gotten stiff and weird in certain spots. So yeah, it was just play and tell stories and have fun. It also means that the GMs had a pretty good time, especially with the storytelling bits. and that meant they're probably going to want to do more GMing later or write their own games, and it kind of empowers more people to do cool things.
Hopefully.
I
Yeah.
really did like the reactivity of the game, being the person who murdered a bunch of NPCs and players.
So
because-
many of them.
Yeah,
Evil
I think my total kill count was 4, and 3 of them were player characters. But yeah,
That was
the
just the
first
ones
2.
that didn't get back up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the first 2 I got came back as like horrible zombies, and then had like become part of the forest and monsters and haunted us when the big spooky night happened. And seeing how you gave those players the ability, like, hey, do you want to be like fucked up little guys? And they were like, yeah.
I was so
Is
keen.
testament to like
I
how
was so
reactive that was.
keen.
Yeah, we had like a total of, I think it was 7 or 8 player deaths total. Like character deaths, not player deaths. Different thing. And for most of them, it was like a lot of smiles and happiness, and I had a really cool time, and I did something really cool. And then we just, well, here's the options. Do you want to make another guy and like have another character with this like a different skill set, same skill set? Do you want to go rules light and just have fun in town for a while? And those 2 being the first that died, we needed like test subjects for our like science experiment scene later, and asked if they wanted to do that, and they both seemed to be pretty keen to have a peek behind the curtain. So it was like, hell yeah, absolutely, have this. And they just took it and ran and did some really cool shit.
The first that died outside the forest.
Yes, yeah, the death in town where you don't get back up again.
Yeah.
I think they were both new players as well. New
Yeah.
players. It was so funny. I remember being in the tank, and then they came in, and they're like, "Ooh, behind the scenes," and they're like, "Oh, hello," and they're like, "Hey, we're on your team now." All right, great.
Okay.
And like they started covering themselves in blood. Like, all right, yeah, sick.
Yeah.
They get it. They understand.
Yeah.
Yep. They really
like,
did.
You know, we were talking earlier about like those players who are new LARPers immediately understanding the brief, as well as Josh earlier mentioned this whole like high agency, high reporting, I think it was, or like low constraint, high reporting mindset of like we trust you NPCs and GMs to go and make good decisions. Just let us know so that we can like keep the world running and
So we can
make
back
other
your
parts of the
play
world.
mostly.
Yeah. So tying that into stuff like, you know, earlier we were talking about like the visual language. I was shocked at how everyone understood, like everyone was on the same page about the vibe and about what kinds of things made sense. What kinds of like, hey, in this genre, where should the story go? The story should go here. Yeah, the story should go there. So having all of that having like a really clear vision and really well communicated vision amongst the GMs and amongst the players means that you can step back and like let them all play, and they'll play and make a sick game that is going to be like cohesive with the game everyone else is making and with the wider vision. It was so cool to then see players come in and be like, "We got it. Put me in, coach." Like, and then see them go in and like, "Yeah, you're nailing it."
So here's the where we're on your team now image there.
Yes.
They look like they're having a blast.
Superstars. Absolute fucking
They
superstars.
were having a great time. But yeah, I think that's a testament to that community building work that happens before the game, right? Where there's a bunch of stuff going in to the communication, to the workshops, to the pre-game stuff, where it's like, yeah, let's work together on the game.
Yeah, it felt it very much felt like a collaboration. Some LARPs I played previously, it sort of felt a bit stilted and restricted for various design reasons. But in this LARP, I think so. Robin mentioned that the orgs gave GMs and NPCs a lot of autonomy, and you also gave the players a lot of trust and autonomy. And I really think that's what made that was the secret sauce in this game. You gave us so much trust, and it was a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, I mean, players are the reason games happen. Like, you don't have a game without players. And so things that we wanted to really look at as well and focus on is making sure you support our players and know that we trust them, and like, I know, empowering them. Everyone's doing cool shit. Please, more.
And something interesting that I've noticed on that. My ideas here aren't fully formed, but like, I remember a comment from someone. It might have been one of the players, Joy, mentioned, "Oh, this game, this rule set could be broken and twisted, and you could do some wild shit with it." But no one like kind of wants to abuse it because like they're not going to succeed at anything. You're not going to like.
The thing you'll succeed at is breaking the game and just making a bad time for your scene partners.
Yeah. So nothing that your characters want and nothing that you as the player want to do, like leveraging the mechanics to do weird shit or to break the game, isn't really going to achieve what you want as players or characters, which was really cool to see. Players go like, I could do this thing, but actually, like, I don't want to do that thing.
No.
That's not going to be fun. That's not going to be cool.
Main.
No, you go.
Cool. The main core design concept behind like each of the classes as well was make sure the players feel like superheroes when they get to use all their cool shit.
Yeah.
And parts of that meant that in conjunction with each other, they would break parts of the game, and there was parts of the game that you could like skip. Like one party, the Rockians went without seeing the Oracle to go do a run, and we had an amount of things in the background where we were prepared for the game to break in parts because we wanted to see if anyone would do it, and also if they did it, we wanted to make sure we had plans for it to still be cool.
Yeah.
Because the rules are there to support the play. The rules can be malleable if it means the play is better enforced and like more interesting.
Yeah, the Rockian party got really attached to this one NPC who died, and
He got better.
so we wanted to see if they died in the forest, and we wanted to go we wanted to try to do we did one run after that happened, essentially failed. We didn't die, but we didn't find the person who we were looking for, and so we were like, if the Oracle doesn't draw for us, does that mean we get the same run again? It was also a bit of like fucking around and finding out, because at heart I am a scientist, and so I was like, wait, if we control this variable and if we change this one, what happens? So it was a very fun science sandbox for me to play that way. But yeah, we just wanted to see what would happen, because we were also like, the Rockians had some mistrust of the Oracle as well for particular reasons, and so we're like, not sure about his intentions. Let's just see what we can do by ourselves. It'll be a surprise.
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. I as much as I in game talked a lot of shit and moaned about how you went off into the woods without coming to see me. I was so pleased that I was fucking thrilled when it happened. Also, I had been pushing as part of what I was doing, the quest line, so to speak, of what I was doing. The Rockian party that didn't see me actually got the MacGuffin that I was after. So there's a little thing there of like, what do you mean you didn't see me? And every time that I tried to guide a party down to the woods to get the MacGuffin, they failed, except for the party that didn't. I can't think about that. I have to be angry instead. But it was definitely so fun to see players do something like exactly the reasoning Elias just mentioned of like, well, if we don't get a new deck of cards, do we get the same run? Can we reattempt that? Can we have another crack at it?
Just replay. It's fine.
Yeah, can we hit that one again?
Did you, or was it different?
It was a little bit different. So
I know.
Apparently, fate is not so simple. But I will. I would like to touch on that first run after we didn't. After that beloved NPC died. On that first run, it was that was when the Rockians sort of banded together, and we had two hunters, two of the three hunters in the entire player base, and it did feel like we were superheroes when you have two archers side by side using their snares to stop the unkillable spirit monsters. So the snares would stop them in their tracks for 20 seconds. Just, shooting arrow after arrow. It did feel like we were superheroes. We were like, this is a little OP, isn't it? But it was by design. And especially as someone new to LARP archery, that felt really good.
And that was the thing where if you want your players to, like, you can... The classes were essentially all broken. They were overpowered, like, right, significantly in lots of ways. And that was awesome. And it meant that the players could get that feeling of being very powerful and doing awesome stuff, and then still sometimes failing, which I thought was really cool.
There was this
Having
great
highs and
moment.
lows was great. Sorry, Will.
There was this great moment when it comes to the communication of the rules. Whenever I had how does this rule interact with that rule? I felt comfortable that I could just approach the GM and say, hey, here's what I reckon happens. What do you reckon? And then I'd get a thumbs up. It's like, yeah, no, that sounds good. Go for it. Because the main one that jumps to my mind is, so the warrior class that I was playing had an ability where you can activate superhero mode, stand up after you've been downed, and say, I will die standing. And you just become invulnerable until the thing that tried to kill you is dead. So we had a moment of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object because we had two warriors that hated each other and wanted to kill each other. And it's like, what do we do here? So we had a chat about it, and it's like,
great.
hey, I think we cut each other to ribbons and end up dying in a horrible heap. And Josh was just like, yeah, sounds cool. Cut each other to ribbons.
It's meat time.
And that was sick as fuck.
It was, though.
Looking at that and going like, oh, wow, yeah, you're both literally immortal until, wow, sick. What a cool interaction. Hell yeah. But that interaction, players could be trusted to do that because the players understood that, like, what kind of things would be sick and, like, how to pursue that. And it was really cool to see Josh and the GMs give that trust to the players, and the players take that trust and go, like, gotcha. I'm going to make the coolest shit ever. Oh.
There was a little evil vizier on my shoulder that said, everyone hates you. You can become immune to all damage and become the end boss for the entire game. But I'm like, no. I think it's better if I die bleeding out on the cold mud. That much cooler.
Especially while all of the Fright Night stuff was happening. So we've got this player versus player combat happening, all while the terrors of the night and the forest are coming into the village. It's just like, wait, what's happening? Okay, we don't have time to worry about that. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was just because I was locked in, but it did feel like, and the terrors of the night are going to avoid that bit for us a little bit.
And it was very key and very interesting that while the terrors of the night were coming, two of the, four frontline fighters were, like, fighting each other. And it's like, subtext.
Different characters have different priorities.
You're telling me that war changes someone and they can only react with violence? No, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
Makes them hard at solving communal problems.
Have you tried picking up a loom, Will?
See, I've got this hammer and it deals with all these problems, which are nails. And if you hit it hard enough, then the problem goes away.
You know what? If all you have is a hammer, then everything starts looking like somebody's chest cavity. Um,
I guess.
Another thing I just wanted to say about Josie, you mentioned earlier this idea of GMs as players, like
Yeah.
from the perspective of an NPC. So I had my own sort of, I guess you could call it like a storyline to pursue. There was a system called Fronts. It was very well designed. A couple times and it was deeply imbued with this idea of like allowing flexibility. So it was written of like in a way that was like you. These are the set points. These are the main notes that we're going for. But how exactly you get there is there was a lot of flexibility given to me and to the wider story. So that was great. There was a point where I was hitting kind of the crescendo, the like dramatic high point of that, and I had in my head like, okay, well on the front, the way this progresses is like A, then B, then C, and then with like a dramatic climax. And I was at step B, and I go to Josh and Lex who were there, and I'm like, all right, like fill me in. And it was just very cool to have them turn to me and be like, actually, this other thing happens.
Yeah, let's
And
just modify that.
yeah, and like the fronts are written in a way that lets you change it on the fly. So it was like Josh was like, "Oh, I see that this thing would be cool. Let's do this thing instead." Like, acknowledging, "Hey, 3 weeks ago, or not even 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, when we were writing this front, we wouldn't be able to like foresee every possible variation and what's the coolest choice in that moment going to be. No, in that moment, Josh was like, this is going to be the coolest choice. Right. It was written in such a way that let me go, okay, great. Now I have to figure out that. And so as a player, as a participant in the LARP who was like, not a player, it was fucking great to be like, oh no, I'm here too, and I'm not just here for the enjoyment of the players.
You get to play the game.
I get to play the game. People, like having the GMs look at me and be like, we're twisting the knife. We're twisting the knife. Fuck. Okay. No, all right. It was so fun to have, my own notions of my own expectations just flipped on their head and be told like, no, you're here and we're doing this to you as well.
Yeah.
You're also a victim of the art.
Oh no, they're twisting the knife at me!
So, fronts come from Vincent and Miggy Baker's Apocalypse World, and then were adapted for LARP by the Black Powder and Bloodlines writers and designers. So, if you want to talk to them about fronts, they're probably the best people to talk about. Certainly, or Josh, because Lex, the Deadline people who stole them and modified them again for the Deadline. Stole is not correct.
So pre-writing our fronts, we had a session with one of the designers from Black Powder, and we wrote a mock front for Dancer Ribbons because it was a common language we all had. Because they didn't need to know what our game did. We didn't need to clue them in on that. We just needed to have a story we were trying to tell together. So we got to go through and see how they're intended to be used, and then we stole the blank format of one of those fronts, and then just tried to mash our own stuff into it and make things happen. Which was cool because it, as Robin was saying, was pivoting from things we'd already written because it's fundamentally like a cognitive load tool. It's pre-written story, it's pre-planned actions and like chess moves, and then when it's obvious there's a better choice or something more interesting to do, you just do that instead, and you don't need to worry about it. You got the room to think of a new thing, which was just cool and really helpful.
Yeah. Plus, you can do a thing in the tank where what you do is you get your major fronts for the games and you stick them all up, and then every time and you mark on them what's happening. So when the GMs go in, they can be like, "Oh, where's this at?" and they can just find out. It's great.
Yeah, that's as with the like instructions being low constraints, high reporting. That was the high reporting part of it as well. At the end of each phase, there was like a block of like blank text to fill in of tell us what the fuck happened, so we know what's going on and can look at it.
Yeah, so in that moment where like I'm on, it's like A, then B, then C, I'm on step B, and suddenly Josh is like, actually, this thing would be cooler. I had a moment of like proper out of character, like, just because, or rather, sorry, no, hang on, let me say it again. My character, like from a character perspective, of deep shock because a bad thing had happened, and now what am I going to do? How am I going to proceed? The fact that there was part C of that pre-written in a flexible way.
Yeah.
Like I had a few minutes of like my character is in deep and utter shock. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm adrift. What am I going to do? Panic. And exactly as Josh mentioned, like it's a cognitive load tool. That's exactly what happened. A player said some comment that was meant to help, and they were like, I was a blind mystic and I got my vision back, which means I don't get prophecy anymore, which is the worst possible thing that can happen to someone whose whole life revolves around being an oracle. And a player was like, maybe your life's purpose is fulfilled. You're trying to be kind. You're trying to be kind. And I marked that player and I'm like, I'm going to twist the knife in you for saying that. You're trying to be kind. And I'm going to, in 8 minutes, you're going to regret that because that let me find a way to part C of the front, which is I die dramatically. And it helped me go like, oh, yeah, so this would be a really cool thing. And I found a way to get to that logically within the logic of the game. Marched off, did my dramatic thing, and I used that character's knife.
Absolutely.
It was great.
Gav says, Phil says, fronts are great. Hell yeah. Gav says he loves seeing the evolution of these design concepts passed from game to game. Absolutely. And it was fun. Like, it's fun just if you look at the tabletop games that came from Apocalypse World and how fronts change in each of those and get shifted. Cat. But yes, hold your plans loosely. We are not writing novels. We're playing games together. We are going to jump to a 10-minute break because last fortnight I did not have an early break and then I got in trouble. So now we're going to have an early break. 2 sentences before the break. One interesting thing you learned from the Deadline Chronicles, please. Well,
playing a healer is fun and cool, but you also need to make sure that players will actually get you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Elias?
Oh, I just completely blanked. I think that this LARP has done, it's made me think a lot about the trust you give players, the trust you give your NPCs, and also the safety tools that you give to them in order to play safely.
Robin?
Yeah, echoing that, Ellie's point about trust and safety tools. Basically, I found it was really educational in that regard as well. And I guess just like, oh god, it's fun to twist the knife. And
Excellent. That's a great
incredible.
line. Someone clip that. Josh?
God, I learned so much.
One thing you learnt.
Yeah, what's a good concise point? Hey, people fundamentally want to have fun at an event they've paid for, and so you can trust them to just have fun if you give them good tools to play interesting things.
Excellent. And I learned that it's really fun just to turn up and like Yoda people. walk around behind people learning and being like, yes, continue doing the thing you were doing already. That was very
And
good.
deeply helpful.
Please continue to do that thing. Yes, good. All right, we're going to go on a 10-minute break. We will be back soon for more discussion on the Deadline Chronicles. Perhaps a short little, I don't know, some more stuff, nerdy crap. Another bunch of nerds talking about nerds. All right, back soon. Hello, and we are back discussing the Deadline Chronicles, despite what my stupid video said. My name is Josie. I am a person who writes and runs laps and talks about it too much because I'm a nerd. My pronouns are she, her, and let's go around the circle one more time because we finished the break. Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh. They, he. I am the creative director of Deadline Chronicles.
Elias.
Hi, I'm Elias, pronouns are they, them, and I am a long-time lover of LARP and am looking at helping run one next year as well.
Ooh.
That's right, we'll get to it.
Okay, Will.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns are he, him, and I have also been bitten by the what if I ran some game bug.
My God. Robin.
Hello, I'm Robin, he, him, and I have been bitten by the I want to make everyone else's dreams a reality bug. So that's what I've been doing.
That's what I do. Amazing.
Amazing!
Yay, team.
Woohoo!
Okay. So, before we left, we were talking about a bunch of different stuff on the Deadline Chronicles. Hang on 1 second. I just need to press this button, and I can. Okay, there. I've pressed it now. There we go. Okay. I can fix that later. We talked about game design, we talked about communication and how that is game design, we talked about GM styles, we talked about NPC briefings, talked about a bunch of high-level design stuff. What do you guys want to talk about now? No, I'm kidding. We're following the script.
Aww.
Okay, no, you can do the question.
Before the break, Josie, you mentioned getting to see a lot of new GMs learning on the job.
Yeah.
What kind of little light bulb moments were there?
That's an excellent question. Okay, so my job at the Deadline Chronicles was essentially I'm an old person. And I've run a bunch of linear games. None of the GMs had run a linear LARP, and several of them. Oh, am I wrong?
A couple of us helped run the Zeppelin pilot as well.
Oh, that's true. Yes, so we had some who had worked on the Zeppelin pilot, but several of them had not run linear games, and several of them had only run one, and a couple of them had never run any. And they'd been talking about this stuff and what to do, and a bunch of my job was partially just to shadow people and make sure, theoretically, make sure they didn't fuck up or show them what. I mean, the brief was show them what to do. Mostly what I did was, I think, give them permission to trust their instinct. And I think that for me, the biggest light bulb moments were watching people realize that they could do this thing, right? That they knew, like, that their idea of what was cool and what was interesting was good enough to tell the players and be part of the game. And I think the biggest thing was just keeping them communicating and giving them the permission to do what they wanted to. that make sense?
That does, and I
Yeah,
love
for
that answer.
sure.
I think you self-described at game as a safety blanket a couple of times in regards to certain things, and that was really
Aw.
delightful. Separate to that as well, you were also a really good sounding board because you had the experience to help inform some of the calls.
Well, yeah, but 99% of them, I feel like I was like, yeah, your idea is good. You should run that idea that you're doing. And one or two, I might have been like, yeah, but maybe we should do it slightly. But like,
Okay, that sounds like a downplay. I have distinct memories of this is from Dance Ribbons 3, coming to you with some question about the Quinn's Quest, and your response was "fuck it, we ball,"
yeah.
and that was so funny to be like, "Hey, I'm concerned about some technical detail about how this is going to work," and you're like, "Fuck it, we ball." Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that ad verbatim from
Yeah.
The Witch of the Woods?
That's-
Imagining your character saying that.
No,
heard,
no, that was an out of character thing. Joe said that. I don't believe Neve said that.
Well,
To
no,
the
but
step
I-
proof from Neve, all three games, when asked questions by me several times, gave me the answer, fuck it, we ball.
You did get to that page, yeah.
and you said earlier, like, oh, sometimes I'd have some like, oh, what if we did like sometimes you would give a good direction, and often you would just say you'd give people permission to follow their instincts, and that was so
Yeah.
good.
Well,
and I remember
no, you go.
thinking like, yeah, I just remember thinking like, oh yeah, it's not just like, hey, trust your instinct. It's not just that. It's like you're saying, hey, whatever, like we're gonna figure it out in the moment. It's gonna be great anyway. It helped instill in me this idea, which I've carried since, and like struggled a little bit to sometimes put into words of like, like anything you give is a gift. Anything you give helps and is good, and the more you give is better without diminishing smaller contributions. Like,
Oh,
more is good, less is not less. More is more, less is not less.
that's really lovely.
I remember it hit me so much that, you know, Elias, you mentioned was that said in character? I then went around to people. People would come up to me and be like, "Woden, what are we going to do? What do you think?" And I would turn to people like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Josie's position right now." You know, those Garmontians, they have a saying. They have these big dances. They call them balls. They have a saying. They say, "Fuck it, we ball."
Oh, that's where that evolved from. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, the lore is making
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
It's full circle.
Amazing.
Mm.
So,
Which also is similar to. Yep.
but I think there's a lot. Like that's very flattering. But like, I think that's a valuable lesson for people who are put in the position of mentor, or the people who are put in the position of where, like, you know, I went down the hill with the first party, and Novel was with me, and I'm like, yes, I will show you how to run this thing. And by encounter 2, I was like, okay, now go run this. And then Novel's like, oh, do we kill this player? Yeah, that's what you do. Do we do this? Yeah, do that. And then by the end of the weekend, they were just like off destroying people. Awesome.
Killing players left and right.
Just left and right.
Not the Rockians, though.
Well, yeah, but I think there is a message, a value in going, okay, you know, we're gonna have experienced sounding boards, and then we're gonna trust our instincts.
You were telling me after taking, I think it was Novel and then also Chess later as well, down the hill as like their backup person, how for both of them you were like, cool, I'm here with you, and then they did something and you take a step back further, and they did more things and you took a step back further, and you just kind of kept stepping back until they were kind of almost on their own.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. And by the time, I don't know if they noticed or not, but clearly there was enough trust that they were doing the right thing, that it was clearly like there's empowerment now. You can do it by yourself because look, if you look
Yeah.
around, you kind of are right now.
You're I made a picture like a kid who's on the bike for the first time. You're just taking the training wheels off, and the kid's like, "Oh, like hold me," and you're there, and and then you got your hands a bit further away, and the kid's doing it, but you're
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah, I'm like, don't worry, I've got you. And they're like down the street, and I'm like, I'm
They're
holding
running too
on,
fast for you.
and they're
Yeah.
gone, and I'm just like, don't worry about it. And then they crash
And like this is
around the corner somewhere. Like, oh,
and it's a bunch of adults making stories together, and it is their first time doing it in a LARP space, but these are all people who are already have been empowered to tell stories pre-game and have written parts of it, or have been there for briefings, who have the same knowledge about the game as you do,
or more
and
than I did, mostly.
yeah. And it was just they needed the confidence call, and I needed that from you a few times over the weekend as well. And it's such an invaluable tool to have, even though honestly, you aren't teaching a whole lot. You're just saying yes, you know enough already, and that's so fucking cool to have on hand.
So I think there's a lot of value in that. And like, there's always going to be somebody who get to be like the experienced person who will come and sit beside you while you run your game or whatever. Unless they're all playing it, in which case you're already doing great.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is that, like, I don't know, now most of these people, you only need the safety blanket a little bit.
They all did like insanely cool things for the rest of the event after they had that like moment of confirmation.
And I mean, on Sunday I was walking around the Deadline being like, I feel like Yoda after he's turned into a force.
Yeah.
You at one point was like, yeah, I don't think I need anything to do. There's enough GMs out there. I'm just gonna sit here and have my coffee or something to that degree. It's like, oh, yeah, actually, cool.
Which is an interesting thing as well, where we talk about the Deadline had a bunch of GMs, right? A lot of GMs.
It felt like the crew to player ratio was almost 1-to-1, which that's a rarity at the best of times.
Yeah, so due to a player not showing up, if we're counting NPCs as crew just for like reporting and stuff as well, it was a 26-to-23 ratio. So we had 3 more crew than we had players at the game.
Wow, that's luxury.
Yeah, I think.
And oops, sorry.
Sorry, you go.
Even with that, we felt like we didn't have enough, especially for the linear encounters, because we were running those 6 people down the hill ragged.
I think the player to org team crew ratio also played a key role in, we were talking about before with the letters that were written to every player. Like I'm getting, bespoke attention from the GMs. They care about my story. They care about my character. It very much felt like we were, for want of, actually, no, this is the perfect word, witnessed. Our stories were witnessed in such a beautiful way. And so it just, it felt held.
Really nice to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so normal about this.
For anyone at home who wasn't aware, Dance Ribbons, the GMs were called witnesses, and there was a lot of them. There was a big part of a very heavily ST'd or jammed game.
Yeah.
And
I think, well, the most recent linear game, there was a little Zeppelin game that was, I don't know, 20 players. And that was mostly linears. And the Watchers of East Haven before that, which finished in 2018, I want to say.
I mean, admittedly, the Zeppelin little pilot game of that did inspire a lot of my original thoughts for fantasy linear games since I'd seen the format finally.
Yeah, right. It's pretty delightful. So the next 2016, maybe Watches finished. I don't know. I'm sure Gavin will correct us. Let's talk about the differences between the factions. We didn't invite any poly.
Oh, the Arc. Oh wait, no, the Arc was Polygon.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
We've got one. I'm sorry, Robin. So there you
Clearly the
go.
best faction.
We've got one from each faction. Tell us why your faction was the best. No, tell us
Well,
what
They're
was
the ones that end up
interesting.
killing me.
What was interesting about your faction? What appealed to you about your faction?
I really enjoyed the Dark Right Imperium because I read the brief and was like, okay, cool, I can get this. They're all about the paradox between law and order. There's a strict social hierarchy of nobility and commoners. The nobility are sickos for this concept of honored blood that is so important to them. And after you've been in a generational long war, you start running out of people with honored blood, and that becomes a problem because that's how your entire society is built. And yeah, it was this really interesting. I immediately on reading it and seeing that the colors to wear were red, black, and white. I'm like, I'm going to play someone evil. And I think it also got all the Goths flocked to that one pretty clearly.
They did.
And also all the witches and all the militants. Unless was there another witch that wasn't?
There was
There
a
was.
Rockian witch.
Okay, yeah, but we were very much the witches, warriors, one troubadour. I think that's about it off the top of my head.
Yep, there we go.
No chaplains, no hunters. We are here to do war or spooky stuff in the woods, and someone's got a bard that they've brought along.
Hell yeah.
And finding out that everyone in that faction was trying to escape that, status quo of maybe we shouldn't have our society in two stratas that is incredibly chaotic. Maybe we have better ways of running a government. And I was the only one who's like, the status quo is good, and we should enforce it. And we are still at war, and we got to win.
Yeah.
Added a lot of flavor to that.
I love that. Welcome the 4BDNB, who believes that Will looks like Oscar Piastri. That's delightful. Welcome Gugu Den. Every LARP I have always played will always have a goth faction, and I will only ever go to those. I am with you, Lyrebird. Let's go. Elias, you were from the Rock and Rollers?
Yes, I was. So I was initially drawn to rock, but what solidified my decision to start with was finding out that the spelling of the name was actually a misspelling in the org document.
What?
And I was immediately
It explains so much. Or at least the stupid spelling.
So the Rockians, as I said before, they're essentially a toxic productivity grind culture. You are assigned a craft at a very early age, and that's your thing for life. So if you are assigned to be a smith, you will smith until the end of your days, until the last hammer falls. If you are a weaver, you will weave forever, or if you're a hunter, you will kill forever if you aren't a heretic in rock culture. So I saw this kind of as an experiment for myself. I mentioned before, and also wording now, experiment. I'm a scientist. I'm sort of in I'm in out of academia. I've just finished my PhD. I'm just finishing some comments from my assessors, but as part of that, there's very much like a grind culture with that, and so I wanted to explore the toxic productivity culture through rock, and also sort of give myself an out and permission to dream of different and other things than what both my younger character would have dreamt of and what a younger Elias would have wanted for their life. And that's what drew me to the Rockians. But yeah, we're the best because I think by the end we all drew together and also adopted most of the NPCs.
The vast majority, yeah.
And shipped some of them so hard that I believe three of them are
some
now
of them
getting
into
married
marriage
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're powerful.
Lex says that when they were drafting the name, they were like, "Okay, I'm off to rock." That's great.
Bit of work.
Yeah.
Also, how is Lex first time chat? You've been on this stream like twice. Mad with you now, Lex. Okay.
Sucked in.
Okay. Anyway, Robin, tell us about Polyco. Hang on. I just want to, just before we go on to Polyco, I just want to pick up that concept of the LARP culture being permission to dream of something different.
Oh.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Also,
really nice to hear, because we created 3 kind of awful societies to see what players would grab and what they'd rebel against, and it's nice to hear.
Yeah, it was the I want to rebel against fascism and feudalism, or I want to be a horrible example of that to encourage other people to rebel against it, or I want to rebel against grindset culture
and meritocracies, really.
And and meritocracies. So what about Polyco?
Well, to build on that, I was talking to someone recently. I think it was maybe Oberon we're talking about Fields of Honor, and the comment that came up was this idea of like, it was like, why would I invent a good functioning society that's just perfect? That's not gonna be that fun. I'm sure you could make a good LARP about a society that actually works well, but like, it's way more interesting to explore societies that are imperfect, and are imperfect in ways that are interesting to us. And like, this idea of like, if you're studying old books or old films, from sort of an art perspective, the first thing you have to ask is, when was it made? What was the culture at the time? What was the moment? What were they responding to? And so it was delightful to see these 3 factions and see all the ways in which they were specifically awful, and the parts of them that were good, and that like those people would see were good about them, and the parts of them where they might have blind spots for what was actually fucked about them. Delightful. Except of course Polyco, which was perfect and had nothing wrong, because it was a faction about being kind and being nice to everyone. It was just great. And I read through the Polycan like doc, and I thought, oh, well, I feel called out, because this feels actually really close to home. A lot of these are things I kind of believe, and I would like to live in this society. And it's not bad. What do you mean? It's great. Why would it? How could this be bad? How could this be bad? Never mind the weirdly like toxic positivity elements. The like, if someone is bringing bad vibes, they get ostracized, but they get ostracized kindly. Like, you're
Deceptively kindly to the in-group.
Yeah.
I would say nicely, not kindly.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Politely. They get ostracized politely.
Politely.
And again, politely in front of the in-group. And they're the material of their complaints is utterly disregarded until they can like get back on the bandwagon. What's the word I'm looking for? Like fit in with the group again. But as an oracle,
Status quo.
yeah, as someone who is from the status quo, that's great, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what your complaints are about.
The mayor was Polican, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the mayor,
Well, the
the
town-
oracle,
Cool.
and the oh my god, apothecary.
Yeah.
The town
Yeah.
was technically in Polygon.
Yes, it was on Polygon land at the very border edges of it.
The mayor had this perfect toxic positivity vibe of like, yeah, and I've invited 2 enemy states to this small little village on inside Polica. But that's cool. Everyone's gonna be fine. Anyway, I'm doing this for like some dread ritual to bring back my beloved. But that's okay, right? Like we're all chill with that. And you come on, get involved. And it's like, why are you mad at me? I'm just a little guy. Come on.
The men were
Um,
so cheery, and you should trust them.
Yeah,
They were so lovely. They were so nice at all times.
they were. And Tang
Yeah.
did such an amazing job.
Tang was amazing, especially as I was gutting them. There was a great moment where I'm like, let's go see where your wife's grave is. And it's like, but it's over that way. He's like, let's go over here. And then I checked in with them real quick, put up the half moose, like, hey, is it cool if I put my hand over your mouth? And they're like, yeah, go for it. So I tried that, and they let out a scream. I'm like, oh god, I have to actually muffle it, and then stab them on account of the character I was playing. Look around, make eye contact with the GM. Feel, oh no, Tang is now just lying there in the mud. I have to run away though because I've just done a murder.
And the murdered has announced themselves to everybody in the area.
Not
Josh,
quite.
would you like to tell us a little story about that?
So the GM you made
This
eye
is a
contact
little
with,
bit backstory.
was
Backstage,
around
but-
the fire tending it and wasn't actually like paying a lot of attention, then saw you make eye contact and slit the mayor's throat and went, I have to do my fucking job right now.
Incredible.
They were on a GM break, just tending the
They-
fire.
That was getting out of the tank for like the first time, taking like a brain break and just doing a task. So then they reported that back in, like, how do we deal with this? Okay, someone go stand with the corpse. We'll wait up one of our NPCs, and it was Kaya, a Darkbright delegate, who dragged some Darkbright over there, and so they were just caddishly like giggling about the dead mayor. Oh no, I guess the power structure here is right for the taking. And 2 other NPCs were like having a little jig who had been down in the forest all day. Felix and Pogs. It was like, hey, you guys have a really good vibe right now with that guitar and the dancing. Could you dance over in this direction for me and then start screaming when you see the body? And he drew a crowd like 10 minutes after the mayor had been cold and dead on the fucking gravel.
Oh, it was perfect because I was hanging around somewhere else and then found out the mayor's been murdered as I had moved into the tavern with several other alibis.
No.
I've been here the whole time. Don't worry about it.
So
It was
funny,
pretty
just,
great.
like, the series of events that played out there.
Radiant Indigo Decay says, I think we work out a lot of what we're feeling about our culture in LARPs, which is why there's always a connective thread to settler colonialism in Australia. And yeah, right? Running a LARP about cops in 2016, 2017, wild.
Yeesh.
But I'm sorry, written in blood. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
It was actually, I guess just to build on that, something we said much earlier, and then building off what Indigo Decade has said about hope for society despite the terror.
yes.
Earlier there was a discussion about, there was some talk about hope, and it was really lovely to see as a character who was kicked into the sad McSaddy world, who tried to put a knife in his lungs, succeeded at that, but then failed to die, and lost everything. Like, so my character lost everything that they were about, lost the sight, and then thought that at least in, I would get maybe to be Moses. I would lead you to the promised land, but I don't get to go. That's okay. I can deal with that. But then no, I didn't manage to lead people to the promised land. I thought I had succeeded, and then I failed at that as well. So I'm just a failure. And then and then I'm forced to be alive. I thought my character was going to die. And then Lex, talking about twisting the knife and talking about like having where the GM teams get to play. Lex comes up to me and is like, "You wake up." Completely wild, because in my head I'm like, "Great, that's the end. I've hit all my beats, and now narratively I should be done, and I get to go be a silly little guy in town." No, you're still on the clock. You have to be alive. You don't get to opt out. Actually, you have to keep living on. You have to endure. And it was so fun seeing players, like, just being the saddest little guy and seeing players come up and be like, "Hey, you were the weirdest, creepy dude who would like do tarot reading blind. You would look at cards blind. What the fuck?" And come up and try to like help and be nice. And I was like, "Oh, I just got to be sad and scared for the rest of the game. And anytime something bad happens, I got to react strongly. That's my job." And players like went so far out of the way to try and comfort me and to like find ways of bringing hope to this character who was completely destitute and destroyed. It was so lovely, especially during Fright Night when I just was kind of bawling on the ground in despair and trying to heighten tension. And players coming up to me like, "It's okay, we're going to get through this. Come over here, we're going to get you to safety." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to be safe. I need to be in despair. I need to be... oh God, you're really trying to help me."
What we're trying to do, right?
Yeah. They're like trying to make it okay, and I'm like, "I'm trying to make it okay, great. I have to give you this." It was so lovely seeing players try so hard to build hope for me playing someone who was trying really hard to be hopeless.
So let's talk about that, where we're talking about what does it do to anybody, and I think this runs for players and for NPCs and for GMs, when you're like, "I'm going to do this thing and I have this plan," but then somebody else has put effort and care into their reaction, and then you go, "Oh, I actually have to change what the plan was now so I can..." Anyone can respond to that.
I think I was the instigator of a lot of chaos, because I sort of went into this game, asked Josh, "Hey, when should I start amping it up?" And you said, "Now." So that's when the murders started, because
Short game.
you mentioned that, hey, you've got 1 and a bit days. Play hard, go hard, have an impact on the game, because you don't have the time to have these slow burn narratives. It's got to do the entire arc in basically 24-ish hours. So that was a lot of fun, realizing, oh, no, just lean into it as much as possible, cause chaos, and start those ripple effects. Because I find in a lot of games, players can go like, "Oh, I don't know if I should. I mean, that's an important, NPC. They might have God mode on. I shouldn't go try and get rid of them, or oh, it might ruin up a plot line." But I felt the team had the flexibility here to go, "No, we've written these rules. We've included the ability for you to die permanently. It would be a shame if they didn't get used."
Mm-hmm.
No, you go, Josh.
Just as a short note, we're running a game with horror elements, and like hope is a practice and violence is present. A lack of death, in my opinion, in a game written for that, I feel like goes against the narrative that it's trying to tell, and so violence will reinforce itself into story as a thing to counterplay. So it needs to be encouraged. Yeah.
Right, like hope isn't as meaningful a choice and as radical and like almost revolutionary in the rebellion sense, a choice, if the world's fine.
Yeah.
And
No. Yes and no. Hope is a practice of things you do consistently and actions you take on a regular basis. It will be challenged regularly. Things will be awful in the world, and you either need to keep having hope and practicing it, or not, because you can stop having hope, then pick that up again later. But it's this thing that is ongoing. It's not a singular action.
And your relationship to it will likely change over the course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
It's pretty great.
How did it feel on your end, Josh, when you needed to make big changes regarding like player actions? Because I know there was a pause just before dinner. As a lowly player, I had no idea what was going on during that point, but I was taking advantage of the fact to hang around at the nice warm tavern. What was going on from a GM team side of things?
Yeah, that one was actually more of a logistics thing. There was a communication, miscommunication between when we thought dinner was going to be happening and what we told the cooks, and how we were running a game. We thought we were going to end at 6, so we ramped up a bunch of things so that would work. And we're like, oh no, we're ending at 7. Cool, we have an hour to kill and a whole bunch of information to collate. So it wasn't actually a misalignment of any player actions or anything like that. It was genuinely a logistics issue that we thought would take the time to pause the game and then fix. So it had less flow and impacts afterwards when we came back from dinner.
But to sort of jump in on that, I do remember hearing, and Josh, tell me if I'm a bit wrong or whatever. Correct me if you think it's useful. I did remember joining the tank and or sitting in the tank quite a lot during that downtime and seeing the planning for how Fright Night was going to work. And it was like, hey, so we had this sort of idea, and the players did a bunch of stuff, especially with the town guardsmen, the rock team, like engaged real heavily with that narrative and worked so hard to try and have a good outcome that we are going to have to change what we do. We had a plan for how Fright Night would work, and we're going to have to modify that plan somewhat because, wow, we got to respect that hustle. They worked real hard to get that outcome. So we got to do something a little bit different, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. Lex is an absolute superstar and a fucking phenomenal writer. And so throughout we had 9 fronts and then a 10th run sheet for Fright Night that had like the core conceits of why each front led into things being awful that night. And so what that meeting really was us going down the list of things we had planned and awful outcomes if things weren't touched properly or weren't honored, and went, cool, that's off the list. Great, what do we do instead of that? That's off the list. What do we do instead of that? And it was absolutely a response to player outcomes, but quite luckily we had an amount of cognitive load tool there ready to go that we could just pivot on some points. And then we got to add some good juicy bits from the players and go honor that and put that in play and see what would happen there. A good example is a lot of people drank the blood from the Prior's ritual way more than we expected. So it was
Quite a
suddenly,
lot.
we've got 9 out of 23 players, 8, sorry, because one of them died earlier in the day, ready to go as ticking time bombs of people who would just start doing violence when they are ritualized on. We've got the town guard that the Rockians have worked really hard to bring back to town. Cool. So it had the bandits being led into town. That's cool. We'll strike the bandits from the run sheet. We'll get more of them being monsters and spirits instead. And we had a bunch of things that slot into place, and we got to move around and change some sliders and go, cool, this is the narrative the players have given us so far to work with. Here's the responses we've got ready. Here's the ones we need to change. It was really fun to work out that problem and just kind of look at Lex and go, cool, we're fucking doing this, and have the GM team in the room and yourself as well just vamping on what was going on and just adding and shifting and changing.
Another one of the key concepts from... There's a couple of... It's actually very interesting on these design concepts from Apocalypse World made their way through Black Powder into the Deadline Chronicles, where it's... all NPCs are in crosshairs.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just like, yeah, none of your plots or anything or people or characters matter more than what players do. And so, yeah, that's a real cool, valuable NPC. Would it make a cool story if the player stabbed them and they died?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, no one piece in this puzzle is more sanctimonious than the others in the totality of the image of the game
Yeah.
and the story we're telling.
And then the play to find out what happens. Whether, we had two. There were, at least Josh and Lex explained to me two possible, likely sort of finishing points for the game, and the one that we ended on was not either of those.
Yeah, we very loosely ripped at the ending and kind of went, let's see what the players do. Because
right,
we're not sure how to end it. Because there's the LARP you write, there's the LARP that happens. So that's going to be more important, and an ending for that is going to need to be honored by what happens.
So
And like,
yeah, no go.
It's role play, right? Live action role play. The players have a role. They can in fact impact the story. They're not playing a pre-written video game with a story. They're not watching a theater production. They're participants. So it's so.
You would be shocked at how many LARPs I've played where that is just not the option. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
It's just really good to see how the world responds to player choices. And like, earlier sort of made this comment about like players want to know that their game mattered, or like their experience, the characters mattered. And that can be in very small ways for sure, or it can be in big ways, or it can be anywhere along the spectrum. But like, just sort of as a philosophy, almost going, oh, what the players decide to do, that's the story we're making. We're making it together.
Yeah.
So we're going to explicitly create like infrastructure that gives us space to respond to what the players are doing. Is so sick and creates cool moments where people really feel like they're in a living world. There was a whole trial planned for the mayor, and then Will fucking goes and ganks them out on the side of the thing, and now everything's got to pivot, and now we're doing something else. Like, wow, that makes the story feel really fucking alive. Oh, you can just go kill an NPC. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Like my character.
Sorry, Elias, can you tell us how involved you were in what did you react to in the ending? Like when you were like on Saturday, like Saturday night, everything changes. Like I don't know, Lothar's dead. Several people are peeing on his grave. It's awesome. In a circle. What on Sunday morning you get up and you're like, what do we do now? What did you do?
Yeah, so I mentioned before that there was an NPC who had been killed who we were looking for in the forest. That was the town guard, who we managed to find. He didn't agree to come back with us to start with, and he decided to stay in the forest because he was essentially similar to my character, forced soldier in the war, and was chafing a lot of the Rockian storylines were chafing against the assigned roles that we had, and he said, it's not going to be anything different. I'm only going to come back if it's different. So we ended up leaving him in that run, and just giving him a bit of time to think. And I'm very proud of the group of players, and I think my character is proud of the other characters, that we made the decision not to blaze a path through the forest to see what's on the other side. The grass is always greener, and instead we decided to stay in Dawn Hollow and to put our weapons down and leave war behind and learn new things from each other, from the forest, and the forest would learn from us.
Very cute.
Yeah.
What about your new boy, Will?
So I had taken a new character after being slaughtered the night before. So not having any of the context of the previous day or the forest, just hearing tales of, oh, there's a spooky forest and there's ghosts in there. But the normality that everyone was treating it meant that it felt scarier than everyone was like, oh, don't go into the forest. There's things in there that'll get you. On the first day, was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, cool. There's things in the forest. I can deal with that. But it's like, oh, yeah, there's ghosts. They're chill. Don't worry about it. And just the blasé attitude meant my new character was like, I don't want to go in there. There's ghosts. I don't want to get eaten by ghosts. The forest spits you back out as like a new body. Oh, that sounds dangerous. I'm going to go to the pub and wait for it to all blow over and then leave town, because this place is weird and strange, and good luck to them.
Fair.
But it was quite wonderful seeing being the one person who's like not hanging around, because they did send NPCs up to bully me, because they sent ghosts up to the town, and it was just, oh, well, that's a problem. I don't know how to deal with that, and I'm alone. Uh-oh.
So, Josh, you and a couple of the other GMs basically rewrote the ending on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little about that?
Sure. We weren't sure what we were going to do on the Sunday, if we were going to run more expeditions, if we weren't going to write the story in town, if we were going to take players on like an expedition into the woods as like a group or as individuals, or what we were planning on doing. We had a few options floating there. And so we had a 2-hour play block, and we had all of the wrap down from the night before after the Fright night. And so we'd watched what players are doing, and we'd taken note, and we'd gone, they're going for a story that is, they want to make peace with the woods. They want to try and make things a bit nicer. So how can we honor that gently and make a few offers and see what takes? So our Polican delegate NPC was meant to be pushing like a political narrative. A couple other NPCs whose stories had kind of run to an end had picked up on parts of that, and we're settling those discussions. And we wanted to offer a general like group walk down to the woods, like down to the forest into the Deadline, to see what would happen. And we had some NPCs queued up to like kind of react to what was happening there. From that emerged like a let's give gifts to the forest to show that we're sorry narrative between some NPCs and some players, and so we just followed them down and did what we could to honor that and make that happen, and be interesting and like full. And then also, if anyone stayed in town, we made sure we had some options for that.
Send ghosts to bug them, if nothing else.
Ooh, just a little haunting as a treat.
Well, I was up in town waiting for players who were up in town to do things none of them wanted.
Yeah, it's the get drunk after big game Saturday, slow Sunday with a hot breakfast, 2 hours of gameplay, wrap up and pack up. There's only so much you can do in of that.
It was very nice to go from bastard supreme to just a little guy who is scared of ghosts and is going to go, you know what, I've had enough plot, don't want to touch that.
And yet you still performed a wedding and swore a bunch of people to the town and did a bunch of religion anyways.
Look, you gave me like religious abilities, I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
You asked for them, you just go have fun.
Wow.
Speaking of wrapping up and packing up, that is what we are shortly about to do. Let's talk just a little bit about pilot season. So, this game was a pilot, meaning it was went from an idea to a LARP in A, less than a year, B, with some
9
support.
months, just under.
Like a baby. Like a human baby.
Like a baby forest, a baby god.
Like the skin time, baby.
Jesus fuck.
Niche reference, very niche team reference.
So, sometimes teaching high school rots your brain. The part of the point with the pilot season thing was that everything was going to be a bit hacky and a bit bucket we ball, basically. And a bit, we're expecting that there would be errors and mistakes. No,
I'm so sorry for
gone.
disrupting you.
Somebody talk about pilots. Please.
From a purely selfish angle, I quite enjoyed seeing what the site looks like for the pilot season game I'm helping run next weekend, and figuring out, okay, so we're going to put stuff over there and stuff over there, and seeing how other teams had used that site to run their game. And the hill in particular was quite interesting as a concept that I think this game really, really did quite well. It's like, you've got this site and this constraint and the amount of people you can have on site. How do you turn that into a game? How do you use the site to the best ability? And yeah, no, it was a real, I think the only, the main bug that popped up was the weather. Because
which did in fact cut the site
very
in
slippery.
half.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the hill was supposed to be. There was a significantly longer route.
We had a significantly longer route plan, but weather was bad. But also, we did then. It kind of worked in our favor that we shortened it down because we also had not enough bandits to run the encounters we were running at scale.
Yeah, it was really interesting, especially someone who was, from the Oracle's perspective of someone who is like seeing, like laying out the cards, and I'd gone through the list of encounters. As a reminder, the encounters players had correlated to one of the 22 major arcana, both upright and reverse, so 44 in total. And it was really interesting seeing them play out, and then, like, what am I getting at? Like this idea of how is this going to work in reality when rubber hits the road? Are the encounters going to take too long, and so, or like the runs overall going to take too long, and so you only get a small number of runs in total? Are players going to die really early, and so they get a lot of reps? Are they going to just win? Are they just going to like breeze through all of them? Like what is actually going to happen when this gets run? And just to touch on that idea of the pilot game, is like, that's data that you kind of is very hard to figure out when you're just thinking about it. And so running the game and seeing how does it actually function, what happens when this idea encounters the players, was sick, was great. And it really, to me, like, I don't know, something about it to me really convinced me immediately, like, okay, pilot season is absolutely a great idea. There's an ambitious game here. Yeah.
Because I don't think we could have gotten away with a design quite like that. Sorry, I'm zooming in on the cat. I'm
also distracted.
Okay,
I really like pilot season because it demystifies the LARP writing process and it says, hey, it's not actually this incredibly difficult thing. It's something that if you have an idea and the drive to do, you can do it.
Yeah.
and gives you the tools to do it without having to jump in. It's like, okay, now I've got to figure out insurance and then site hire and also ticket pricing and
Cooking
making
and-
sure that, all the logistics that go into it. And what happens if there is a fire? Is there an emergency plan?
Yep.
So you can just focus on, what if I had a fun game about going into the woods and getting murdered by bandits?
Yeah.
The joke for this game was that it wouldn't have happened without a deadline, which is how the name originated. It's one of those things where
Very good.
games are your LARP isn't real until you have a site and a date booked and a deadline for it to run.
Site,
And it's a thing
venue
that's
and date, or your LARP isn't real.
It's been very much drilled into me by the LARP rights throughout the years before I've gotten the chance to run my own game. That those things are important, and so that the hardest bit to get done being provided for you, and then you get to write a game, is it's so cool and such a nice thing to have just sitting there ready to go. August's core concept of this just being a thing was awesome, and then getting the opportunity to be one of the first 2 games to trial this auspicing program is just incredible.
Yeah. I do think there was that bit. We had the first set of tarot cards, and we're setting off to go down the hill, and and I'm Taryn and I are trying to communicate about what's happening, and Taryn's group 2 was not going to be able to start until group 1 is finished encounter 4 because of the way the NPCs will work, and we had to ring each other on the phones because the radios couldn't communicate when it was raining. And I was like, this right now, this feels like a pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But,
then we just fucked with it, and it worked fine. I was
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 encounters, shrink them down a bit if necessary.
Yeah.
Just churn it through a bit faster.
Invented sending the tarot things and their interpretations on Discord so that everyone could see what was going on.
Just a bunch of spot fixes as fast as we needed to make them happen to make sure the game worked for the people playing it.
The radios on that hill were a lesson in problem solving. Zari says, August was so down for us to ask 100 million questions and so willing to take the time to find answers. Yes!
Yeah.
Yay,
we had
August.
monthly meetings with August throughout the dev cycle of the 9 months. It was once a month we meet with August, talk through where we're up to, what needs to happen, what Immersive Arts needs to see from us. We had access to other people who are part of Immersive Arts to jump in, have a chat with us, explain some things so that we could not repeat lessons that had already been learnt, or get access to tools that we were trying to understand still. It's a good hand-holding process.
Speaking of how great pilot season is, Elias, did you want to talk a little?
Yeah, so I'm part of an org team for a LARP that will be happening as part of pilot season next year. The team's headed by Joy, and just as a little teaser, it's a historical LARP with magic realism set during an early medieval siege. It's called Miracles of 626, and watch this space.
Woo!
So exciting.
So exciting. We are looking forward to it.
We had our first meeting about less than a week ago, and we are all very excited.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be a stacked team of incredible creatives making a really cool LARP.
There's also a lot of excitement. August has been sending delighted messages. Okay, great. That looks good. If you want to know what's coming up, what can you do, Will?
You can go to viclarp.au, where a cool and talented group of people keep all the Victorian LARPs updated on that nice and easy calendar.
They do, and you can subscribe to my Twitch stream. You know what's cool? Pressing subscribe on my Twitch stream. That would be great. Also, you can join the Immersive Arts mailing list. Pilot Season 2027 is currently, I believe that they are also accepting. There's another slot available, or possibly 2 more slots. I know that Robin's going to launch something fairly soon. Is that right, Robin?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. First I've heard of it.
Ah, come on.
I'm being
Robin's-
voluntold.
Robin's
Bullying is the
Robin's-
most effective tool to get new game runners to run games, I'm told.
Just voluntold. That's how I got into commentating. I just got voluntold. Yeah, you'd love to do it. Okay, maybe.
amazing. Submissions are open and running for the Playful Engender Symposium. Come and talk about LARP with nerds for like a weekend, because 3.5 hours is not long enough. Gonna have like yeah, full academia. It's gonna be great. Published papers and everything. I have some stickers you can go buy. You can click on that link in the thing. Oh god, I fucked up the link.
It's broken.
It's
Oh,
broken.
no.
How about now? I think that's fixed. Nope.
Yeah. No?
Nope.
Worked for me. No?
Works for you? Great.
Wait, no, it didn't. I'm wrong.
That
Shit!
leads me to Ko-Fi in general.
That's
Yes.
not good enough. Oh, there we go. Alright. I delete my own messages. Sure,
I
it's
guess.
fine.
There we go.
There you go.
Support Josephine Mills. Hell yeah.
Yeah, by buying stickers. Cool.
Yes.
Will, tell us about some stuff.
So in August, I will be running the Freeform LARP Game Jam. So very specifically, convention-style Freeform LARP, which is usually 2 to 3 hours long, with character sheets that you are handed. So you rock up, you go, all right, that's how I'm playing for the next couple hours, and off you go. I'm running that as part of Caligo Monday. So if you're interested in that, come check it out. If you've never written a LARP before, if you've written too many LARPs, I basically want to get people into a room and help demystify the process some more and say, you could just make some cool guys and put them in a room, and then they have to have drama with each other, and that's a LARP. Don't worry about it.
I know. It's so great.
I'm also on that note about freeform LARPs. I have started writing a playtest for a sequel to my Spire game. So this one is called Spire Red Row Blues, and I'll be running a playtest for that also sometime in August. Keep an eye out because I will be very annoying about it and talk about it constantly, and you will know when it is.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Woohoo.
That's very exciting. Elias, what's the other thing you want to talk about?
Yes, so another member of the Victorian LARP community, Davey, and I run an event series called Wonk and Whimsy, where we try and bring whimsy into the everyday. There is an event next week, June 8th, 6:30 p.m. in Melbourne at Transcendence. It's a special interest night, show and tell. So if you have something you're interested in talking about, we love hearing what you love. So audience members can sign up for like a 10-minute slot to talk. You can also not speak if that's not your jam. You can come and listen. But yeah, we've had lots of wonderful, bizarre topics over the course of the series.
And
So that's happening next Wednesday night.
What was the absolute best one?
The best one, oh gosh, there was one where one of our audience members spoke about Animorphs and the culture around it, as well as sort of like the lore and
So
the
good.
left-leaning
Oh, that's incredible.
politics behind
10
the author,
solid
and
minutes
it was
on how
all just
great
off the cuff.
It was amazing. No notes, nothing.
Yeah, no,
Oh, that's
it's just off
awesome.
the cuff,
What?
off the top
They
of the
were
dome.
incredible.
Yeah.
Didn't prepare, just had that on the hip.
Just
Yeah,
like,
we're,
yeah,
Offer it.
I'm going to get
Incredible.
up and talk about Animorphs. Let's go.
Incredible.
Yeah, we have the
I
ethos
loved
of
it.
like perfect is the enemy of good. So having unpracticed or just improved ideas, we have people who read stories, or if you just want to bounce an idea off the group or dissect song lyrics with a particular lens. Yeah, we've had all sorts of fun, wonderful things. So that's next week. If
It's
you're in
really
Melbourne.
fun. There is a link in the chat for tickets. You can do that. I will hopefully be there. I am thinking about doing a thing about the Nika riots. But we'll see how we. It depends on whether or not I get round to it. Round to writing it. Otherwise, I'll turn up and read a poem or something.
Sounds wonderful.
I've added a link to the Playful Agenda Symposium Discord if you would like to get more information about that. I'll chuck a link to the Caligo Discord. What? Nope. I can't put links to the Caligo Discord. It's fine, don't worry about it. Are we through the things? Yeah! Those are the shoutouts and the plugs, unless anyone has any others. Josh, do you want to plug your next thing?
Don't have a next thing yet. Watch this space. However, very boringly, if anyone played the Deadline Chronicles, we'll be releasing player feedback surveys tomorrow sometime in the afternoon or evening. We'll also be offering one-on-one interviews if you'd like to talk to us about things instead of just write stuff down. This will be announced in the Discord. But heads up.
It's up. Excellent.
That's a really cool way of doing feedback.
Yeah, Dance did it. So I thought we'd copy some more of their cool stuff.
Absolutely. Okay. One thing from each person about one thing that you will want to do or want to put in or bring to any LARP that you play or run that you learned from. One thing from the Deadline Chronicles event that you will want to put into, that you will want to bring to LARPs in the future.
I want to steal the front system. I want to find out how it ticks and then use it to give NPCs directions.
Yes, I was also taking notes on that, and all of the behind the scenes things, and this front's notion you speak of, it is intriguing.
Josh and Lex will be running a short 19-hour fronts lesson.
Not that I'm aware of.
Just to keep spruiking that, as an NPC and as someone who, I was doing Oracle I was doing the tarot reading, it was so helpful to walk into the tank and have a whiteboard with everything in the game posted up. Every narrative thread that was getting every front was posted up, and just to go, all right, hang on, so this one, we're okay, cool, that's where, and be able to figure out the themes and then go into the next reading and have those themes in your head and go all right, here's this, the cards say this, and plays oh my god.
Actually,
it was so good.
On that note of having things in front of you, this was the first character that I played. Oh, is that true? This is one of the first Weekender characters that I've played that has had a scribe mechanic. And as a neurodivergent human, being able to write things down and just refer to them at will, wonderful. I I'm going to take that forward as both a player and as a future org, because it's also an accessibility thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
May I be a glutton who would not be satisfied with all the riches of heaven and have a second one?
Yes.
I'm going to take that as a yes. The pickpocketing system rules.
So
just,
good.
We haven't mentioned
so
it.
good.
Just
The crimes.
Everyone has their own little clothes peg. They've customized so that it's identifiable, and then if you can put it on someone and let a GM know, the GMs know who's clothes pegs who, and then they'll rock up and it's like, "You've been nicked," and you go, "Oh, when did that happen?" You go, "But give me something to steal from you." Super fun. Super.
So many people robbed the
engaging.
blind guy.
As they should
Everyone
have.
just kept doing it.
I think my favorite one, actually, yeah, somebody pickpocketed Josh almost immediately. Like about 10 minutes after play had started, I'm like, "Josh, you got anything on you for a pickpocket?" And he's like, "Yes, I do." And they handed me a little bag of stuff, so I went and found the pickpocket. And I'm like, "You must never pickpocket a GM again. This will not work again. But here is yours."
And
It
Josh
kept
was not
working.
the
It
only
kept
GM
working.
who was pickpocketed.
And then a bunch of other GMs got pickpocketed, and a bunch of them just gave them stuff anyway.
We'd forgotten to give NPCs their little pouches of stealable items before the game had started, so I had just collected all of those to start handing out covertly as I got pickpocketed, and it was the best time. I guess crime start now. Here you go.
Incredible.
Lex got pickpocketed about the same time before they'd gotten a loot bag, and so just gave them a little spooky jig and danced off into the void.
Somebody pickpocketed the severed head.
Yes.
Yes. Specifically the severed head, not the person wearing the helmet before they died.
No, the severed head.
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody pickpocketed Yip Yip.
Somebody pickpocketed
The sock puppet.
sock
The
puppet.
sock puppet that one of the bards had.
Yeah, there's
Delightful
the pegging game is sorry, Josh, is there a problem?
phrasing. No,
No, we're good. Okay, the pegging game I first saw in LARP at the Hobbit Showdown. And that's a game that people play all the time at the Hoedown, where they're like, "Yeah, can you peg somebody? Got to peg some hobbits." And that's wonderful, but it was really cool to use that as the pickpocketing. Did you guys invent that? Just steal it from someone?
I'd heard the pickpocket. I had seen pegging happen in the past. I believe there might have been a Soulcraft Underworld thing that was doing pegging as well, but an amount of things at those events were also doing slip things into people's pouches alongside it. I didn't read that. That's fine.
Because Zeppelin, we just sort of had, the people had to come and sort of stand next to whoever. They had to let the GM know in advance, and then come and stand next to somebody. Then the GM would be like, "Okay, you did enough." And this one was way better.
I think if we were to run this game again, we would probably signpost it a little more heavily, because the conceit of using it was we don't want people rifling through each other's bags or directly stealing from each other, so it does create a less contact heavy way to do crime. So yeah, but then we found out after the fact that some people weren't actually immediately aware of it because they didn't read the whole way down. And even then, it was still pretty unobtrusive to interact with.
Yeah, I think it was great.
And it was funny to watch. Like, it was really funny to watch. Final scene of going peacefully down to the forest, I think was the highest crime rate we had, because everyone had their backs turned, and so all the legendmen were just stealing. And so we had GM start stealing back from them.
Teaching the forest to pickpocket.
Teaching the forest.
Teach the forest crimes.
There was this whole thing about people saying, like, "Oh, there's this narrative about the forest is learning from us and our behavior," and people talking about how, like, "Oh, I just saw a bird pinch something from another bird's nest," but like it felt fun and playful because we're showing the forest this, like, "Oh no, we're teaching the forest crime," but actually we're having fun with it. Like
We're teaching the first play as well.
Yeah, play. It was like it turned into this actually really beautiful thing. Incredible.
Teaching the first play is where we're going to end it for the evening. Thank you everyone so much for your brilliant audience membering and your numbers. Next, not 2 days time, but in 9 days time, off at Fields of Honor, and then a few days after that we'll run one of these streams about it. Mostly about how Angarad Vachangarad is the new ruler of everywhere.
New Royak.
New Royak, new boss bitch. And that'll be fabulous. So thank you. Anyway, so that's going to be great. Next stream's going to be about that. I don't know who's going to be on it, but it'll be some cool people. Thank you for coming and being here tonight. Josh and Robin and Elias and Will, you have been an amazing panelists. And we out. Team in 5, 4, 3, 2, bye!